People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone.
They're all around you. You just don't realize it.
When you're strange, faces come out of the rain.
You know, it's funny how, in a lot of ways, we all live in this bubble in our own world, this small little plastic bubble. And we're so used to everyday life and what we're doing that we don't really notice what's around us. Before I moved out of my apartment and I started this journey, I didn't, I guess, how can you say, I didn't recognize what was around me. As the weeks started going on and the months started going on, I started looking around me. And I've noticed that there's actually a lot of people, probably more than you realize, that are living the same way as me and in similar situations. And I didn't notice this because, well, you know, again, we're in a plastic bubble and we pass by people, we pass by homeless, we pass by all these things. We don't notice around us until we become a part of that outside world. And this is what I've noticed. As time went on, I would kind of notice more cars parked on the side, you know, homeless people or just people living like a similar lifestyle where they don't have a house, they don't have an apartment, some don't even have a car. First thing that kind of stood out to me was I was at my storage and I saw this guy, and of course he looks, you know, he looks homeless. I mean, but then you think, okay, well, if he's homeless, how can he afford a storage? So I would see this guy and he talks to himself, and you know, I mean, a lot of people do. They have mental issues or things that they're struggling with. And then I would see him every day, and then one night I just got through eating and I had leftover food. And whenever I have leftover food, I've been doing this for a couple years now or so. I try to give it to the homeless or someone instead of just throwing it away. So I had leftover food and I parked on the side where I saw homeless people, and I got out my car and I gave it to this guy. The guy that I gave it to was the same guy that I saw at the storage many times, and I didn't even realize it. He was sleeping out on the sidewalk, and that's when it really like hit me that a lot of people are homeless, much more than I think. The way we see homeless is basically, you know, out on the street and no money, no car, no nothing. That's what we see homeless as. But after I saw him, my definition of homeless kind of changed. And I've realized that there's about a few different kinds of homeless people, or houseless, whatever you call it. But basically people without a destination or people without a physical location to live in. So the few different kinds of people are, number one, your average homeless person, or the most stereotypical homeless person, which is the one you see out on the street and they have nothing. They're looking in trash cans, they're asking for money, they have nothing. They're sleeping in a cardboard box, or they're sleeping just on the cement, or they have really just nothing. And that's what most people see, or most people think when they hear homeless. Number two, you have the one that sleeps out of their car. So they're homeless. Wait, I think I might fall under that category. They're homeless, but they have a car that they can sleep out of. So life is a little easier, actually a lot easier than the first one I mentioned. They have a car, they don't have a physical place, but you know, they have a car that's running, that can move, that can get them around. And they don't have a job, they don't have anything, and they just live out of their car. But throughout the day, they basically operate much like the first one I mentioned. Number three, the person that's homeless, but they have enough money to survive, not enough to pay rent, but enough to survive and also to rent a storage. And I didn't realize, you know, until like day after day, I would see the same people in the storage, and I would pass by different people's storage unit, and then I'd see like bags, I see a whole bunch of stuff. So I've noticed that there's actually a lot of people that will rent a storage, an inexpensive storage, probably like what, 60, 80 something bucks a month, give or take. And they store their stuff there so that they don't have to store it in their car or they don't have to carry it around them in a wagon. And you guys have seen the other kind of homeless people where they have a wagon and they have everything that they transport, and that's a hard type of way to live. But these kinds of people, they have a storage unit that they keep a lot of stuff in, and it's a lot easier, and they can move from location to location. So now that I think of it, I would probably fall under number three, where I have jobs, I have money. Obviously I could rent a hotel if I wanted to, and maybe I would struggle, but maybe I could actually rent an apartment or a studio. So I'd probably fall under number three. So that's kind of the um, different levels of homeless that I've noticed. But what I've also noticed too, because I do it myself. Obviously, I'm lying down in my car right now. Is I would notice in the same spots, the same locations that I would sleep, I would find the same cars, and you can tell someone's sleeping out of it. These vans and cars, and you can just tell. Over time, when you do it as long as I've done it, you see patterns and you see the same cars and vans. And I've noticed that, when I drive past places, I drive past cars and vans, I just kind of notice patterns. I would notice that there's actually a lot of people sleeping out of their car and their vans, more than I actually realized. So yeah, this whole journey and this whole way of living has really opened up my eyes to, understanding that I'm not the only one, first of all, but secondly, that times are tough. There's actually a lot of people doing what I'm doing right now just to try to save up, or maybe, some people are living with their families, or they have their kids in the van with them. You just don't know. So I just want to share that with you guys, that they're all around you. People who are struggling and just trying to make ends meet, or they don't have the luxury of having a house or apartment. They're all around you. If you just stop once in a while and you look, you notice them in cars, you notice them at the parks, you notice them sleeping on the beach. It's just the same patterns I see over and over. I guess you don't notice someone until you become that person, and that's exactly what's happened to me. So look around you, you know, have empathy, help people out when you can. Don't look at them as dirty, or don't pass judgment on them like they can't get a job or they don't try. We just don't know. We don't know someone's situation. We don't know what they're going through, but they're all around you. They're all around you. Until the next episode, I'll see you then.
When you're